Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and I am back home from my 2-week trip, and it's perfect timing because we have some breaking news from Shams of The Athletic. The Knicks and the Jazz have re-engaged in Donovan Mitchell trade talks after a month of being in a stall agreement between the Jazz and the Knicks. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting because we are 1 month away from training camp. So in this video, I want to give you guys my thoughts of this report. Is Donovan Mitchell actually coming to the Knicks? There was so much stuff happening last month on my channel, giving you guys all the latest news about the Knicks and the Jazz, talking about Donovan Mitchell potentially coming to the Knicks. And now we're like a month later, 3 weeks later, and we're finally hearing some news that the Knicks and the Jazz are re-engaged in trade talks after just a couple weeks of just nothing. No news regarding Donovan Mitchell, no news regarding the Knicks, and now they are talking once again. So before we hop into the video, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to Knicks Media, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a lot of Knicks content coming your way leading up until training camp. It feels really good to be back making some Knicks content here on Knicks Media. So if you guys are enjoying this video, please do not forget to like the video, and also feel free to comment down below your thoughts of the news. Where do you stand on this Donovan Mitchell situation? It's been quite a few weeks since I was able to talk to you guys about this situation, so let me know where you stand down below in the comments. Are you still all in on Donovan Mitchell? Do you still want him to become a New York Knick by any means necessary, or do you still want the New York Knicks to stay pat, hold on to the young core, don't trade for Donovan Mitchell, play the kids, and you like the way the roster's looking and how it's shaped out right now heading into training camp? So let me know your thoughts down below, where you stand on the Donovan Mitchell situation. Now, with that being said, let's get right into the video and talk about this report from Shams. If you guys want to read this article for yourself, I'll leave it down below in the description so you guys can check it out. This is where I'll be sourcing it from and where I'll be reading it from. So let's get right into the article by Shams and Tony Jones. So it says, after several weeks of no conversations, the New York Knicks and Utah Jazz recently re-engaged in trade talks centered on Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks and Jazz had a fresh trade conversation within the past week about potential packages for Mitchell, according to sources. There's no traction between the two teams on a deal, and no Mitchell trade is imminent for the Jazz, sources said. The Hornets and the Wizards are also among the teams pursuing Donovan Mitchell, those sources said. Throughout trade talks, the Knicks have made their interest in Mitchell abundantly clear. One source with knowledge of the situation said the Knicks and Jazz seriously discussed a Mitchell trade during the NBA's Las Vegas Summer League in mid-July, but talks stalled out and led to nearly a month of inactivity between the sides. Now, with training camp just over 1 month away, the sides have re-engaged in talks. Hurdles toward a deal remain. So obviously, it feels like the Knicks have done a phenomenal job in terms of standing their ground, because we all know that Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz, they want everything from the Knicks. If they're giving us Donovan Mitchell, they want our entire team, they want all our draft picks, they want all our young players. But Leon Rose was like, no. We understand that we have some leverage in this situation. We have 8 tradable first-round picks. The Knicks have confidence that they can offer them the best package without sacrificing everything that the Utah Jazz want. Yes, it says in this article that there are teams that are interested, like the Hornets and the Wizards, but those two teams cannot top the Knicks offer, and that's why the Knicks were being patient with this. That's why the Knicks did not pull the trigger, because they had a feeling that this is going to happen. It's going to take a lot of weeks, and the Utah Jazz are going to come back to the Knicks and say, hey, you know what? Let me hear your trade offer again. And if the Knicks get this deal done, if Donovan Mitchell comes home to New York City and it's a trade package that doesn't include everything that we were expecting it to be earlier on, like a month ago, where it was like 6 first-round picks, it was Quickly, it was Obi and Grimes and Reddish, and we're just like, as Knicks fans, like, no. Donovan Mitchell is a great player. Donovan Mitchell is an all-star. Donovan Mitchell would make this Knicks team like beyond good this season and for the next couple of years. But is he worth trading literally our entire future? I don't think so. That's why Leon Rose is being really smart, holding his ground, being patient, understanding that the Utah Jazz are going to have to cave eventually to the price range. Now, I don't know what Leon Rose is willing to give up. I don't know how many first-round picks. I don't know which players he's trying to hold on to, which players he's trying to get rid of. If I had to guess, it feels like Leon Rose is going to try his best to hold on to 2 of the 3 young pieces on this Knicks team that seems like the Jazz are interested in, that being Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, and Emmanuel Quickly. If Leon Rose can get Donovan Mitchell by keeping 2 of those 3 players, plus all the picks, you know, that is a home run for the New York Knicks. You're going to have to give up one of those 3. That's guaranteed. It's basically impossible to get Donovan Mitchell without giving up Grimes Obi, or Quickly, at least one of those three. So realistically speaking, as Knicks fans, we have to understand that there is a price to pay. There is a steep price to pay for a player like Donovan Mitchell. And just to give you guys a little update of where I stand on this situation, if you guys don't know or if you forgot, I'm all in on Donovan Mitchell. I've been a huge Donovan Mitchell fan ever since he was drafted in the league. I followed him extensively. I was always rooting for him in Utah. I loved his story of him being a Mets fan because I'm a big Mets fan. I loved his ties to New York City. I loved his play style. I always gravitated towards watching the Jazz in the playoffs every year because I just loved his energy. I loved everything about Donovan Mitchell. And now when we hear that the Knicks could potentially get him, I've been all in on it since the beginning because he's close with Jalen Brunson. I feel like him, with RJ Barrett will be ridiculous because, obviously we know that RJ Barrett is not going to be traded at all. So the whole idea in this situation is you want to pair up Donovan Mitchell with a young ascending star in RJ Barrett, with the brand new point guard in Jalen Brunson, with Mitchell Robinson entering year number 5 with that brand new contract, and Julius Randle, maybe he'll take the pressure off of him. We can all agree that Julius Randle is going nowhere based on his contract. It doesn't seem like there's any teams out there that's interested in him, but it does feel like Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks feels like it's coming back. It feels like there is still some traction there, and I'm all in. I think if you're the New York Knicks, they've handled the situation perfectly by being patient, understanding that they don't have to be reactive. They don't have to, pay the price that Danny Ainge is trying to get from us, because that the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge, their perspective is trying to, just completely win the trade and not make it fair at all. So they dangled the bait to Dolan and Leon Rose. They're like, you want Donovan Mitchell? This is what you got to give up. 7 firsts in your entire young core. And the Knicks were like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. They held their ground. Fast forward 3 weeks to a month later, and here we are today. They're re-engaging in conversations, and that tells me, if I had to guess, and I don't have any sources, I'm not claiming to say anything, but I think it's inevitable. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be a New York Knick. That's a bold prediction. That's just me saying on opening day, I'm predicting Donovan Mitchell to be on the New York Knicks. Maybe that's just me being wishful. Maybe that's just me trying to manifest it into existence, but I really do feel like even from the beginning of this whole conversation of hearing the Knicks and the Jazz starting the trade talks back a month ago, you just see what the Knicks have asset-wise. They've been building for this situation ever since Leon Rose became the New York Knicks president by trading out of the draft, acquiring draft capital, stockpiling draft picks to get ammunition in order to go out there and get a star. And Donovan Mitchell will take this Knicks team over the top this year. Now, am I saying they're going to be a championship contender or they're going to win the Eastern Conference? That's not what I'm saying. But you pair up Donovan Mitchell with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett and Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson in that starting lineup, and hopefully we can hold on to, a lot of the young core off the bench. Say Obi Toppin and Quickly are still on the team, and we have D Rose. It's a scary team if that happens, and I really hope the New York Knicks can really get this job done. A trade package that seems realistic, if I had to guess, would be like 4 or 5 first-round picks, Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and like Cam Reddish. That's something I would do. I would prefer not to give up Cam Reddish and give up something maybe like Deuce McBride, even though I love McBride. And again, I don't want to give up Quentin Grimes. I think Quentin Grimes' potential in this league is through the roof, but you have to pay the price if you're going to get a player like Donovan Mitchell, who's in the prime of his career and who is a 4-time All-Star, who is like just an absolute stud and would take this Knicks team to different heights. I mean, he's a 3 consecutive All-Star, 24 points per game, 4.5 assists, and 4.2 rebounds over his 5 NBA seasons. I mean, that is something that you have to do. Bring Donovan Mitchell home to New York. It's pretty crazy that I finally get home for my trip and then we're getting some news. So I was really worried that the Knicks were going to trade for Donovan, or there's going to be a lot of news while I was away. But luckily, they saved it for me. They saved it for Knicks Media to be able to make a video on it. I'm just kidding, guys. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments of this report. How do you feel about Donovan Mitchell coming to the Knicks? Do you still want it to happen or not? Love to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comment section. Please do me a favor. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are indeed new. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time your boy makes a video or goes live here on Knicks Media. That does it for this one, and let's hope that Donovan Mitchell comes home to New York City. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks. Peace out.